Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel, and we're going to talk about working with kids. Be right back with you. So welcome back everybody, and this video is basically a reply to Steve. Steve mentioned in one of his comments that he's been asked to teach bushcraft outdoor education to kids, and I happen to have a lot of experience doing that. First of all, I was a kid, but no, because I worked with the Boy Scouts of America. I was a volunteer Scoutmaster. My son went through the program. I went through most of the program, and I've also, from the Boy Scout level, with the crew level, and on to also just teaching kids as a bushcraft instructor, survival instructor, and also I've worked with kids with some psychological problems, and went up to spending 10 days camping with these kids in the mountains and going through a process with them to help them. But anyway, so let's talk about that. Before we get started, I'd appreciate it if you'd subscribe to my channel, share with your friends and enemies, give me a thumbs up, and leave a comment down below, because if you have anything to add to this subject, please add to it. And help Steve out as much as possible. Now, the first thing I would suggest you do, Steve, from just really quickly, is to get these two books. Okay, not necessarily these two, but two of them of that generation. One's the Scoutmaster Handbook, and the other one's the Boy Scouts of America Handbook. Why do I suggest you get them? Well, because they put scouting, the program is the outdoors. And they have a process that they work through and go through, and also, it depends on what subject you're going to teach these boys and these girls, the boys and girls both. And I suggest you. I think it's a fantastic opportunity to work with boys and girls in the outdoors, just kind of stuff like that, and teaching. But every subject is a little bit different, and how you go about it is a little bit different also. First thing is find out what age groups they are. If they're little kids, it's going to be a completely different strategy to middle-aged kids to older kids. Okay, older kids, of course, are going to be treated like adults. Middle-aged kids are going to be treated like older kids, and little kids are going to want to be treated like middle-aged kids. So that's how they want to be treated. Okay, now you have to be short, quick, and quick to the punchline. With them, actually, because nowadays, especially nowadays, keeping their attention is very, very difficult. So you got to build a program or a class that you can hold on to their attention. Fire building is one of the best things for kids. They love fire building, and if that's what you're going to teach, that is really just, you sort of hit the jackpot, because they love fire building. Okay. And there's a process that I follow with it, and we'll work on that real quick. First of all, before I do anything with them, I want to make sure that they understand the rules, security, and safety, okay? Especially when it comes to knives and axes and saws, okay? So that's part of the subject. Now, if they're teenage kids, then you can work with them. You can teach them these rules very easily, and they'll understand it. If they're younger than that, I would suggest that they stay away from these things unless they've had some really good understanding and training with it. Younger kids with knives, give them a little bit more time, I would suggest. Because the reason that is because, they're going to use them and they're going to cut themselves. It's just guarantee it, no matter how much training and teaching you give them, okay? That's just what's going to happen. They're going to cut themselves, that kind of stuff. So a lot of preparation is involved here, and also get the parents involved, or some of them. Have some backup. You don't ever want to be alone with the kids. You want to have several of you together, and so that you can, because there are a lot of safety things you want to maintain. In the Boy Scouts of America, because of a lot of past problems and maybe even present problems that the scouting movement has had and is having, that youth protection is key, and we all had to take youth protection training every year, actually go online and do it when it came online. And before that, we actually had to be in the classroom and you get certified and take a test even. But one of the main things is, you never are alone with a child. And if you are, then you have several of them together with you. And that way you have a little bit of security for yourself. It's about protecting yourself also with the child and the child, So anyway, and if there's girls involved, you want to have female adults also around following the same rules that you do. So it can be a little complicated. It can get a little complicated, but these are things that you need to be careful and be wary of, just follow some basic youth protection rules. And in the long run, it'll protect the youth, and it'll definitely protect yourself. Now, let's also talk about when the security, first aid. This is also something that if you don't have someone, the kids aren't completely first aid trained, then you need to be have somebody with you who can render first aid, especially if you're building fires. Okay, and so you want to have the proper things around you for that, like a bucket of sand, bucket of water, a fire extinguisher, and wherever you're going to build a fire, it needs to be a fixed setting. I would say a fixed environment that's going to be easy. Now, I don't know what all you're going to be teaching. This basically covers everything. If you're teaching how to set up a camp, if you're you got to have all the right tools with you. Okay. Now, fire building, depends on what level that they want to learn, either primitive level of fire building, or if you can actually use primitive. I'm referring to everything from friction to what is it called? I can't remember the word now. Silux, which is flint and steel, this kind of stuff. Bow drills, friction, this kind of stuff, okay? Then you have a level where, and look, the procedure is the same. How to build a fire is the same from what I've learned, and that is, most important thing is being prepared and being organized, okay? All that's the same. And then after that, how you present that spark is a completely different, whether it's a flint and steel, whether it's with friction, building an amber, or it's with a lighter or a match, it's all the same when it comes to the end goal and the procedure of doing it, okay? It's just that that first presentation of heat is what's important, okay? Yeah, and that may change, but the procedure afterwards is key, okay? And because kids love building fire, so you teach them, they're going to remember. Most of them are, okay? I remember teaching my scouts and teaching my son and my daughter in the fireplace, and they used to build fires all the time using just the basic flint and steel. They should do so well, both of them did. They both are still very good, I'm sure, at building fire if they put their mind to it. Now, so this is what I would talk to you about and suggest. It's very nice to work with kids because that's our future, and this is something that we want to do. We want to educate. Education starts at home, and if we can add some of that education and not get politics involved, not get all this other stuff involved, that's even better. So stick to the program and have a good time. And have fun while you're doing it, okay? And if you make mistakes, you let them know you made a mistake because they're going to catch on to it real quick also. So just be honest with it. And if it takes you longer, it takes you longer. I remember I had a friend of mine, he wanted me to basically teach his son and another 14-year-old boy, his best buddy, how to build fire. Well, we got together, and it was a rainy day. But you know what? We got fire. But I also remember it being so completely difficult on a completely dry day and just couldn't get a spark. So sometimes these things happen, but be ready for it. And if you're going to teach them primitive, work on primitive, teach them how it works, let them have a chance at doing it, and then work up to where, okay, here we have a fun. Because they want to, at the end of it, you want them to have succeeded and to be able to walk away from there using this method. And here's the method. It's called EDGE, E-D-G-E. You explain to them, you demonstrate to them, you guide them, and you enable them. And that's what you want to stick to. And you stick to that. Enable them means they can teach you and they can teach others. So there you go. That's my advice for you for working with kids. Keep it simple and And, don't talk to them like kids, treat them like adults, but watch your language and have a great time and keep things flowing, because if not, they're going to get off on their cell phone or something else. And my suggestions would be to just immediately okay, cell phones in this bag, here, we're going to keep those in the car. You guys are going to be able to pay attention to what we're doing. So there you go. Thanks you. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope you got something from it, and I hope you all have a pleasant evening. Talk to you very soon. Goodbye.